The United Kingdom set to become the first country to introduce laws allowing the creation of babies, now pay attention, made by 3 people. Parliament leaders there voted to approve a fertility technique that could stop genetic diseases from being passed on from mother to child. And joining me now to explain is Dr. Devi, professor of anesthesiology and rehabilitation at the NYU School of Medicine. Dr. Devi, great to have you on this.
Nice to see you.
Complicated topic. People hear, what? 3 parents producing 1 baby? How does that work?
Exactly. So when we think about fertilization, we usually think about the sperm entering the egg and then the DNA kind of fusing together. But there's actually a little bit more DNA involved. So it's in these what's called mitochondria. They're like the powerhouses for the cell, and they're located in the woman's egg. So in some women, these mitochondria already have some problems with them. So as they get passed from one generation to another, then they can create babies with mitochondrial diseases. Now, those diseases are fatal. So the idea here is that you might take mitochondria from one woman, the rest of the DNA from another woman, and then, the male donor, the DNA from the male, and put it all together.
So it would still be the woman who's having the baby, her genetic child,
yeah, her
but
DNA.
You would fix the mitochondria from a different egg from yet another woman.
Exactly.
Okay. So many questions about this. Is it necessary?
Well, that's the question. So that's one thing. I mean, if a person could adopt or use other techniques to have children, let's say an egg donor or a surrogate, then they could still have children. So is it necessary to do this? I mean, that's something that they have to weigh, of course.
What about the ethics?
Exactly. There's a few different things. There's the science, and then there's the philosophical debates, right? So the science, the question is this safe? Is this effective? So let's say you actually create life. Will those kids have other problems? Will they be successful at creating life without the mitochondrial disease? We don't know. And then the ethics, there are a couple different debates. So the first thing is, are we playing God? Now, I think most of us feel like if we can protect people from diseases, from the pain and suffering of that, why not try to do that? But, when you change mitochondria, that's one thing. But if you start playing with genetic material, it's a slippery slope to be able to say, well, what if I change the gender? What if I change the skin color? What if I change these other things that might not change just the individual, but the whole fabric of society, right?
Right. And for those who believe life begins at conception, this could be a huge problem for that group as well. Okay, I want to move on to this because the U.S. Food and Drug Administration this week approving a drug that could become the new standard of care for advanced breast cancer. Abrance was approved for some women who've previously gone untreated for the deadly disease. All right, this came out early. The FDA gave it 2 months earlier release than it was supposed to. Who does it help?
Well, it helps these women who are postmenopausal. So when you're postmenopausal, you're not supposed to have a lot of estrogen in your body. But if you have breast cancer and it's responsive to estrogen, if it creates its own estrogen, for example, then it can grow and become more dangerous. So this drug is there to try to help these women that their tumors basically respond to estrogen. Now, it also has to be a more advanced form of breast cancer. So if in the early stages you could try surgery or radiation, this is for people who are more advanced where it's spread.
Well, they say that it could be a $3 billion a year industry. So there's obviously a need for this potential drug.
There's a need, and also the results are promising, which is why they approved it early, at least based on the initial studies. They need some more work to look at it, but just based on the initial studies, it did so well. It doubled the survival rate.
Wow.
That in terms of time of survival, that the FDA really wanted to fast track that.
All right. Good news for people who are fighting that disease. Dr. Devi, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.